So you don't have to expect everything to work all the time. In fact, you know,
Funny.
there we go. Are we live on YouTube now? I believe that we are. Yes, we are live on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. And we're here, ACIM gathered for A Course in Miracles. And we're doing a deep dive into the text of A Course in Miracles. And we are in chapter 15, section 8, I believe. And I think we left off on paragraph 5 the other day. Is that possibly
We
true?
had just finished paragraph 5, so we can either go back and read 5 just to get us in the groove, and I have us at paragraph 6.
All right.
So either one you want to start on is good. Good.
Good, good, good. All right. So let's get it up here first. And there we go. So let's read 5 and we can just go on to 6 after that. Who would like to read paragraph 5?
I can if else wants to, because it's a good one.
It's a good one, yeah. Then you can go on to paragraph 6 and we can just move on into that. So,
Okay. Unless spirit grabs me and wants me to say something.
right, absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, right.
Being grabbed by spirit.
Hopefully, yes. The Holy Spirit is God's attempt to free you of what he does not understand. And because of the source of the attempt, it will succeed. The Holy Spirit asks you to respond as God does, for he would teach you what you do not understand, which is everything in the world of form. God would respond to every need, whatever form it takes. And so he keeps this channel open to receive his communication to you and yours to him. God does not understand your problem in communication, for he does not share it with you. It is only you who believe that it is understandable. The Holy Spirit knows that it is not understandable, and yet he understands it because you made it. And this whole thing is just talking about our inability to, or our perceived inability to communicate with God. And he doesn't understand that. And he doesn't understand what we're complaining about, because we made all this up. In the Holy Spirit alone lies the awareness of what God cannot know and what you do not understand. It is his holy function to accept them both. And by removing, and his, I'm assuming, is Holy Spirit. So I'm going to say it is Holy Spirit's function to accept them both. And by removing every element of disagreement, to join them into one. He will do this because it is his function. Leave then what seems to you to be impossible to him who knows it must be possible because it is the will of God. And let him whose teaching is only of God teach you the only meaning of relationships. For God created the only relationship that has meaning, and that is his relationship with you. So we think, there's a problem with this relationship with God. He's not talking to us. We can't hear a voice booming inside our heads. And meanwhile, God is always singing a song of love to us. And he's experiencing that song of love back. And we're like, I don't hear a thing. He's not hearing a thing. He obviously doesn't hear me because I'm asking for all these things in the world for him to, like grant me every wish that I've got. and, take away all these bad things that I think I've got. And I'm asking him in a language that he doesn't even understand, no less hear. We're asking in a language of want and need and lack. And he's like, what lack? What need? And Holy Spirit's there saying, oh my God, I'm trying to get through to them. They're not understanding, they're not listening. How can they not feel this love? How can they not feel this safety? How can they not feel everything that you're giving to them? I don't get it, but they're they're loony bins. They're just Looney Tunes. And here we are, poor poor Holy Spirit. I just think every once in a while of this guy standing there going with his, throwing his hands up, going, I'm doing the best I can with them, but they're out of their freaking minds. And God is just saying, they're fine. Everything's fine. They're making up all this stuff. Don't worry about it. It's just a dream.
Right.
So,
And I'm the only part of God that doesn't feel God's love.
oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm the
that
only part
too.
of God that doesn't experience God's love.
Yep. Yeah, it's just me, poor beleaguered, wanting, needing, lacking me when we have everything. We have absolutely everything.
Yeah. And why don't we experience that we have everything? And I believe it's because our eyes are closed. We are not cognizant of the reality of our situation. We think that we're someplace else in a situation where something has gone wrong, and that something could go wrong. And that is why the oh poor me, man, I've been left out in the cold. And it just is not, it's not what's happening. So yeah, if anybody else has any thoughts about this, please um put your hand up. Or um it's not because it's not there, it's just because I'm not experiencing it. And why I'm not experiencing it is because I choose to experience something else. Yeah, Mickey.
I also like that first sentence in paragraph 6. In the Holy Spirit alone lies the awareness of what God cannot know. He can't know what's going on in our dreams. It's like how if you're a parent and your kid's asleep in their bed and you open the door and look in on them, how could you possibly know what your kid is dreaming about? You can't. And if you're that kid in that dream and you think you left the house and you're all alone on that street and you don't know where your parents are, and we don't understand that our parents are right there at the door looking in on us, if in the dream we're standing out on the street by ourselves. So the Holy Spirit alone knows what we're dreaming about and what God doesn't know about. He's the only intermediary. Poor guy. Just that image of that hapless, like, misunderstood, not, has an impossible job. I'm just thinking of, like, I can't I can't think of his name right now. Just some Barney Fife type person standing there, just going, I don't know what to do with these people.
Yep, they're off in their own little world, and I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God,
that's
poor
okay
guy.
though. That's okay though. Sharon has her hand up. Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Oh, I just wanted to share. My grandson, that's 3 years old, said to my son at night when he was tucking him in, he said, Dada, can I pretend that you're still there? And that just, Mickey just brought up a memory because I thought it was so cute. In other words, he's in his crib going to sleep and he's scared. And he goes, can I just pretend that you're still there? With that little voice. It was just something
Aw,
that I got a chuckle out of because it was so cute. Just so, because, again, when you leave your child at night alone, you're leaving them in trust. You're kind of like, nothing can happen. They're right in the crib. But what Mickey was just basically saying is, we really don't know a lot. What I came to realize is I've known nothing all along. And I believe because I think that the biggest fear for an ego is not to know anything, because then everybody's going to think you're stupid. So, but when you get to the real intelligence, you really don't know anything,
yeah,
and it's all about that. So it's like, what's left but laughing? That's all.
right.
Thanks.
And yeah, and you believe that you're the victim and you're not in
Right.
control, and that's where, you fall into, this fearful place. And you don't have to go there. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just read in Michael Singer's book about a few minutes ago about how thoughts have no relevance. The only relevance they got is if we give them any, and which means that we're judging or evaluating, and it's coming from ego. So that's activating the suffering machine again. Robert Adams said that all thoughts are illusion. Lester Levinson said the same thing. They use different synonyms, but it's all the same thing. All the masters say the same thing. The only value or the only relevance thoughts have is if we give them any. If we stand back and look at them, then it's like standing back and watching a puppet show. And it's nice. You can smile at it. Except, what's that got to do with me? Not a damn thing. That got to do with the real me, the one that's watching them. So I constantly remind myself of that, and it's extremely helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi, so much for that. And yeah, it takes a constant reminder because you know how easy it is to just fall out. You think you got it. No, as long as think you're in a body, you're going to have temptation. And, Jesus also says that in the course as well. Um, so let us then. I just got a message from Mike Courier. He says he's interested in doing a class in Spanish here. So I think that's a great idea. We have some Spanish speaking people, so might be helpful. So let's move on then to section 9, chapter 15, the holy instant, section 9, the holy instant and the attraction of God. Who would like to read paragraph 1? Hopefully it's all there so you can see it.
I'll read.
Thank you, Marcy.
Sure. As the ego would limit your perception of your brothers to the body, so would the Holy Spirit release your vision and let you see the great rays shining from them, so unlimited that they reach to God. It is this shift to vision that is accomplished in the holy instant. Yet it is needful for you to learn just what this shift entails, so you will become willing to make it permanent. Given this willingness, it will not leave you, for it is permanent. Once you have accepted it as the only perception you want, it is translated into knowledge by the part that God Himself plays in the atonement, for it is the only step in it. He understands. Therefore, in this there will be no delay when you are ready for it. God is ready now, but you are not. Sorry about that.
Is that Wally? Hi.
Yes, that's why.
So yeah, does anybody have any? So the ego would limit your perception of your brothers to the body. And when he's talking about the body, he's not just talking about the physical entity that we perceive. The body includes the thoughts, ideas, the mind, the statements, the relationship. That's what he's talking about. A perception of our brothers as a thing, and whatever it is that we perceive, the Holy Spirit wants to release our vision and let us see the great rays shining from them, so unlimited that they reach to God. So that's really what the Holy Spirit's goal here is, to bring us to the place where we see the truth about a brother, not the illusion. Mickey, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, and I would say I'm gonna correct Jesus for a second. God bless me. Not just the body, but the identity and the personality.
Right,
The
that's what I was
ego would,
saying.
yeah, exactly. Um, anytime we're seeing, and that was corrected. The beautiful example that we had from our buddy Igor in Siberia, who saw who saw a man at the bus stop turn into a ball of light or a column of light. I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but that was the great rays shining through that person, and it is in the holy instant that, and that's what happened to me a few weeks ago when I was looking at the little squares on the Zoom thing on my computer screen, and all of a sudden they all started glowing, and even if it wasn't a live person, if their picture was there, their face was still glowing, everything on the screen. Those are the rays that we see. That's the light that we see when we can look beyond the body and the personality and the identity and see what the Holy Spirit sees. And so the Spirit releases our vision, and not just our vision, but our perception of what a person is. And it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I have a question for you, Mickey. You just set me on fire here. Igor from Siberia, where is he?
Yeah.
He has not been here for 10 years. Where have
And
you,
then all of a sudden shows up one day and tells us a story about the great rays.
where is he at? Where did he show up? Where
He
did you
just,
see him?
oh, no, he came in one day. You don't remember? Or
Oh,
was it another group?
it was
No,
another group.
no,
It was not this group.
it was my local group that he showed up in
Oh my
and told
God.
that story. Isn't that a kicker? It was the Chapel Hill group that
What?
meets on Wednesday nights.
Oh my gosh. I
I
have not seen him I mean, he used to come in to gather every day on Pal Talk
Yeah,
and taught. I mean, he taught, he was great. And then he just disappeared completely. And I thought, oh, Putin got him or something. He had to go underground or something. I don't know. But
no,
and
he,
now you're mentioning that he came into your group in North Carolina on
yes.
Zoom,
And I thought
obviously.
I told you about that, and that we had
I
a little
think we did
moment
have a
like
little
this.
thing about it, but it didn't even really, I mean, it just hit me just now. He's still out there.
He's still out there. He's still
Oh,
very much into the course. This was about 6 months ago or so that he
wow.
dropped in on our group one, because we meet at night. We meet at 7 at night.
Uh-huh.
And I think he was just coming home he was working a night shift or something, and
Wow.
he was just coming home, and he told us this amazing story about how he grew up with an alcoholic father who was very violent, and he would have visceral reactions to people who he saw on the street, which happens very frequently in his neck of the woods, who are drunk, and he would get nauseous. He would become non-functional. It affected him really profoundly. And he arrived at a bus stop one day, and there was a very drunk man sitting in the bus stop, and he started getting this horrible visceral reaction that he usually got, but instead the man turned into a column or ball of light. I can't remember which. And he had this holy instant where Holy Spirit released his vision from seeing that man as a drunk and seeing the great rays shining from him. And and he affected me when he was telling that story. We haven't seen him. He just came that one night and
Interesting.
told that story, and that story has stuck with me and sort of set the machine going in my head of the possibility of that. And then finally, I don't know, 6 months to a year later, it has started happening to me, where every once in a while things will start glowing and rays will come forth from people, even on a Zoom screen
Wow.
every now and then. And that was all Igor. I got to give him total credit for that. That was all Igor coming in and giving us a teaching. And we haven't seen him since.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, it's like an angel.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
an angel. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. Okay. But yeah, as you were pointing out, yeah, when Jesus is talking about the body, he's not talking about the physical entity that we perceive ourselves as being. The body, according to Jesus, is the personality, the thoughts, the stories, the everything that we think we are is the body. So when he's talking about letting go of the body, it's letting go of everything that we think we are, not just the physical entity that we are. When we are perceiving our brothers as the body, we're perceiving them as their political beliefs, their nationality, their story, who they think they are. And so, yeah, when we allow the Holy Spirit to release that vision, and that means that we no longer have an opinion. To me, this is what it means. I no longer have an opinion about what I'm seeing. When I'm looking at you, I'm seeing the Christ. When I'm listening to you, I'm hearing the Christ. When I'm and you could say the Christ, or let's just say love. Let's call it love, because I think that's an easier thing to relate to. You may say, well, the Christ wouldn't say, continue the war in Ukraine, but love would say, do what you will. Love would say, that this is your story. This is uh, your experience, and you're here to experience all the things that seem to be happening, war, peace, life, death, sickness, health, all these different things, beauty, ugliness, rot, growth, all the different things that we think we're seeing. We're here to see those things, and being here to see those things, they're all here for us. Nothing has gone wrong. And so when we recognize that the shift to vision is a shift to seeing that everything is perfectly perfect the way it is, it's accomplished in the holy instant, Jesus tells us. And the holy instant is when we experience this perfection of vision, this um, result of our decision to see things differently. So once we do this, um, once we have experienced that willingness, it will not leave you, for it is permanent. You just have to needful to learn what the shift entails so that I'm willing to make it permanent. And then when I'm willing to make it permanent, it will be permanent. And that means that every time I look, I will see the truth. Every time I look, and I'm telling you right now, this is absolutely true. Because every time I look, I see the truth. And then there's another voice that says, yeah, but he's a bad guy and he did a bad thing. And I have that in my vision as well, because I'm split in my decision here. But the fact is, I still see the truth. And I'm going against myself by accepting or believing that something else is true. So once you've accepted it as the only perception you want, it is translated into knowledge by the part that God himself plays in the atonement. For it is the only step in it he understands. Therefore, in this, there will be no delay when you are ready for it. God is ready now, but you are not. God's always been ready. God's just been like, okay, here I am. Okay, I'm here. It's like, the Uber driver sitting outside your house. I'm here waiting for you. I'm here, but that Uber driver is not going to drive away, not going to give up on you. Maybe he's going to call you a couple times and say, come on out. But he's going to be there for you when you're ready to come out. Mickey, yes, please go ahead.
This is a beautiful, and I know the course wasn't split into sections and that other people have, decided on other splits. But this is a perfect paragraph to go with the last one in section 8. The last paragraph was all about God doesn't know what the heck you're talking about. And here it's saying, and God is ready, whenever you figure out you're ready, God is ready, that you will be given this once it's the only thing you want. You're going to be given all of this. They, this stuff is beautiful.
It really
Thanks.
is. It really is just, I mean, that paragraph right there is, I mean, what more do you need? Just be in the holy instant. Be still. And when you're still, this will come to you. All right. Any other thoughts? Okay, we're going to move on then to paragraph 2, text chapter 15, the holy instant. And who would like to read?
I will.
Okay, thank you, Rafi.
Our task is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all the interference and seeing it exactly as it is. Thank you. For it is impossible to recognize as holy without gratification what you think you want. The body is the symbol of the ego, as the ego is the symbol of the separation. And both are nothing more than attempts to limit communication and thereby to make it impossible. For communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning, and deprived of meaning, it will not satisfy you completely. Nothing egoic can be satisfying. Yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships which have no limits, having been established by God. Extremely well put.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't be any clearer about this. But does anybody have any thoughts about it? Rafi said in the text, when I realize that everyone I see as love is sacred oneness of perfect being, wholeness, it becomes normal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mickey, please go ahead.
Well, that first sentence, I can see where Ken Wapnick got all of his theories about looking at the ego, you know, the necessary process of looking straight at all the interference and seeing it exactly as it is. See everything as it is, not how you set it up. and and that's the only way we're going to get anywhere. That's how we're going to continue in this process, is by looking and not judging. And that's what Ken taught constantly. Look and don't judge. Look and see it as it really is. Look and see things as they really are, not the way you have manipulated them to be. So it's now I see where I'm seeing more and more, as we read this very slowly and really look at it, I'm seeing where Ken got all his ideas. It's straight from the course. So we're learning. Thanks.
Yep, we are learning. Does anybody else have any thoughts about this? Yeah. It's just a way of limiting communication. And what is the body? Jesus tells us it's a communication device. The whole purpose of it is to communicate. So communication has to be unlimited in order to have meaning. And deprived of meaning, it will not satisfy you completely. Might satisfy you partially, but not completely. So yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships, which have no limits, having been established by God. And that's, you have to first off be determined that you want to be in relationship with everyone. And that is a big thing. So does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Rafi, and I'm going to take a really quick break, so please continue to talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Thank heaven she's gone. No, what it keeps coming back to me, and what this paragraph radiated to me, is that the divine omnipresence that we are radiates through these body images. And that's how we all serve. We are that. That omnipresence is the reality. The body, yes, is communication device. It's here to serve as everything else is. But as soon as I recognize that divine God presence is radiating through everything that I see, then of course, as Robert Adams put it, there's nothing out there everything is egoless. Everything here is uncaused, has forever been, is now, will forever be, and it is serving perfectly. And that constant reminder for me keeps me in a state of keeps me centered and at peace. And anything that tries to disturb that peace, a situation comes up and the ego tries to make it stressful, I can look at it right away and go, no, how is me being stressed out going to make this situation any better? This is so silly. And letting it go. And then just staying in, am I peace right now? And of course, as soon as I ask the question, I am. And am I loving right now? Am I loved right now? Well, of course. I recognize the truth of that. And that radiant presence is the constant. That is the reality. That is our awareness. That is our loving awareness. That is our consciousness. That is our very being. And if it's in me, then it's in everyone because there is only that. So thank you.
Thanks, Rafi. Yeah, I love your Robert Adams quotes. I've read some of his stuff, but I haven't read as much as you have, and I love it every time you bring something up that he says because he he really had a lot of good stuff to say.
And I like the one where he says, as soon as you realize, once you realize that this entire universe is your friend, and it's not, and it's not, it is consciousness, it is love. And if you just maintain that consciousness of love, there's no such thing as a problem. Um, that reassures me constantly. And
Yeah.
unless this Levinson, again, everything here is working for you. It's not happening to you. And when I see that, I look, okay, what's in this for me? What do I have to learn from this? What's the goodness in this? Or switch it around and wherein did I cause this to happen? Taking complete responsibility. I mean, I even do it when I'm driving. And then there's a lot of traffic. And in LA, there's a lot of traffic. But it doesn't matter. As soon as I get into something that seems traffic jamming, I say, okay, how did I do this? How did I make all of this happen? And all of a sudden, the traffic starts to fade away and a lane opens up and I'm driving along perfectly normal. Uh, it's the simpler I make it, the better it gets. And of course, ego likes to complicate everything. It wants to make an issue out of everything. Here's the funniest thing. Yesterday, I was buttoning my shirt, and my ego wanted to make an issue out of putting a button into a buttonhole. I, I swear to God, I look at that. Are you serious? Look, are you kidding me? It's buttoning a shirt. So naturally, I let it go. And I just buttoned his shirt. But it wanted to make a catastrophic issue out of something as simple as buttoning a shirt. Or, or, or when I walk in, did I lock the door? Did I lock the door? Will you stop it? The keys are in my hand. What are you talking about? But of course, it's totally irrational. Not only that, but I mean, it's completely impersonal. And when I realized that it's completely impersonal, it's like listening to a machine talk. It's like going over to your washing machine and saying, "Hey, washing machine, do you know what infinite love is?" I mean, that's what we're talking. It's kind of like that. So that's all I wanted to share. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rafi, and thank you everyone for taking over while I took a quick break. You probably didn't even notice I was gone. Uh, yeah, so it is absolutely doable, and that's what we were just reading, that Michael Singer book. All the books that we're reading is are teaching us that you can do it. You can do it. I can do it. Does anybody else have any comments on this paragraph? And let's look at paragraph 3. Would like to read paragraph 3.
I can read.
Thank you, Nikki.
Oh, here we go. I get great raise again. Yay. In the holy instant, where the great rays replace the body in awareness, the recognition of relationships without limits is given you. But in order to see this, it is necessary to give up every use the ego has for the body and to accept the fact that the ego has no purpose you would share with it. For the ego would limit everyone to a body for its own purposes. And while you think it has a purpose, you will choose to utilize the means by which it tries to turn its purpose into accomplishment. This will never be accomplished. Yet you have surely recognized that the ego, whose goals are altogether unattainable, will strive for them with all its might, and will do so with the strength that you have given it. Oh boy, that pesky ego. For the ego would limit everyone to a body for its own purposes. We have been trained. We're like trained monkeys who keep going back to the ego and listening to what it has to say. At least I do. I have not gone beyond the ego yet. I would love for that to happen. I have instants where I can have the great rays replace the body in awareness. I have moments where I realize the the total impossibility of what I'm seeing. But, I apparently there is still part of me that really, I guess, takes pleasure in listening to the ego, or at least has been trained. I think that's the conditioning. We get conditioned from when we're little kids of naming everything we see. That's a tree, that's a rock, that's mama, that's dada, and from when we're tiny little kids, we're being trained to listen to the ego. And now that we're reading this book and we're listening to what it says, and I believe wholeheartedly everything that it says, yet I still have not been able to completely let go of all of that training that I got in listening to the ego.
Well, you've been trained to trust the body, trust the ego. And so I mean, that's the only thing that we know. So and of course, we're told, there's this invisible God in the sky who is really in charge of everything. But we don't recognize that. We're like, yeah, okay, well, what's he doing up there then? And why is he letting things go on like they do here? So you have every reason in the world to not trust God, and plenty of reasons to trust the ego because it always comes through, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
always do the right thing, but it always comes through. It's always there. It's right. It's like it's right there with you.
And there are constant affirmations, there's constant validation that what the ego says is true.
And
Yeah.
also like warnings and punishments for when you don't follow it.
Yeah.
You get punished. I mean, we're whipped into shape here. So yeah,
We're well-trained monkeys.
we're well-trained monkeys. That's right. And as long as I think that that's what I am that monkey that I think I see. I'm that character on the screen. I'm that person. It's so easy to recognize how easily we're fooled. If you just watch a movie, watch a television show, or read a book, read a story in the newspaper, see what it does to you. It brings you emotions. You get connected to the characters. You have experiences. You go into fear. You go into joy when good things happen. Watch the Hallmark Channel. What is that? The whole thing is, uh, uh, this roller coaster of feelings that affirm for you that what you're doing here is real. And
And
it's
that
like,
affirm for you your wants, lacks, and needs.
yes,
You need a person. You need that person to worship and adore you.
yeah,
You need everybody to tell you how wonderful you are, you know. Yes, all of these things. That's the ego. Those are vehicles of the ego training the monkey.
exactly, exactly. And so when you tell it, hey, that's not really true, you're going to get pushback and you're going to push back yourself. And you're going to go into doubt and fear and all kind of stuff. But, the joy of it is at some point you recognize it's a movie. No one was hurt. Nothing really happened. The actors all went home, went to their families after this, and it was a story. Yeah,
Yeah. And Elizabeth wrote in the chat, noticing, and that's all we can do is notice, just look, like it said in the last paragraph, just be aware of it, look at it, notice what you're doing, and just listen for Holy Spirit to remind you of what's true.
yeah. And what is true will tell you of itself. Well, what you are will tell you of itself.
Hmm.
That's it. Anybody else have any thoughts about this paragraph? What about in the holy instant where the great rays replace the body in awareness? So the holy instant, is that, it's something that, I think I've experienced, I believe I've experienced, and to the point of not experiencing the body, to be in a place in the mind where you don't experience the body. To me, that's the holy instant. Have we experienced that? Are we looking at that? And is that my friend ran away? Oh, Auntie. Hi, Auntie. Good to see you, Angel. All right. Exactly. Elizabeth says one must turn within. It's the only place there is. Within. All right. Well, then let's look at paragraph 4, and I think that'll be about the end of it. And Oddsy, I don't know if you've heard from Wayne, if he's coming today. I hope so, but we'll see. Oh yeah, he said he's not coming on Tuesdays, I think, but maybe he mentioned it to you. I don't know. Anyway, today's only Tuesday. So, who would like to read paragraph 4? All right, I will read paragraph 4. It is impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it was given you. Love would always give increase. Limits are demanded by the ego and represent its demands to make little and ineffectual. Limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, and you have denied his gift to you. His body cannot give it, and seek it not through yours. Yet your minds are already continuous, and their union need only be accepted, and the loneliness in heaven is gone. The loneliness in heaven. Think about that. So all we have to do is let go of that decision to um to try to do anything, be anything. Just release your power to creation. release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it was given you. All the ego does is limit us. It limits our abilities, limits our thinking, limits our sight of a brother, to where all we see are the things that are the personality, the body, the story, the history, uh, all the things that we think when we look at a brother, when we are not seeing the great rays, as has been described to us. We're seeing a limited being, which we have imprisoned in that limitation. Basically, we said he can't be any different. This is why when we look at, someone like Donald Trump, who's a, big force in our world today, apparently, we look at him and we say, well, he's a thoughtless guy. He's a bad guy. He's a mean guy. He's a rude guy. He's a fat guy. He's an old guy. What are we doing there? Is that all you want to see? Because if that's all you want to see, that's all you're going to see. You're not going to see the great rays. You're not going to see the Christ, although they are right there and have never been anywhere else. But because I've determined to see this way, that is all I can see. Who is limiting me? Me, my own thinking. Mickey, yes, please go ahead.
Well, you just said what I was going to say. When we're limiting our brother to those definitions, he's a this guy, he's a that guy, all of those descriptive things of his body and his personality and his identity, we're limiting ourselves. We limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, his body or his personality or his identity, and you have denied his gift to you. You can't see the great rays, and the seeing of the great rays is our gift to us. That's us being exalted. When we can see the great rays, who feels good? Us or the person we're looking at? We do. When we see the great rays, we're the ones who benefit from it, not the person we're looking at. So we're denying ourselves that gift when we are only seeing a brother as his body or his personality or the identity that we've given to him, because the identity that we've given to him is different from the identity that somebody else gives to him, whether it's good or bad. We're never seeing that person the exact same way that somebody else is. We can't. So we're limiting everything about it.
Right.
And we're denying ourselves the gift of seeing the great rays. And I'm complete.
Yeah. And that's why he says perception has a focus. It has a focus. And we're the ones who choose what to focus on. And then we'll perceive something different. So that's why we have to be able to see our brothers unlimited, without the limits of the body and the personality and the person. We have to be able to see our brothers as the unlimited being that they are, because that's it. There's there's nothing else. So I think this is a good place to stop, and we'll start on paragraph 5 of this section
What?
next.
So we read 4.
Did we
Let's
read?
read 4
Oh, read
again.
4. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
read
So
4.
I'm going to put down 4 in the notebook.
In the notebook. Yeah. So yeah, it's impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation. which is the only purpose for which it was given you. Love would always give increase. Sharon, yes, please go ahead.
I just remembered that I won't be there Thursday, not in the morning and not in the evening. Okay. Just thought I'd tell you. Sorry if I had to, stop your, yeah.
Oh, no, that's good. Thursday evening is
Oh,
canceled anyways, so
you know
Yeah,
what?
well, Thursday I'm with Dove, but tell Dove, I guess he's here.
yeah.
Okay.
I am also going to take this Thursday off.
Okay.
So,
That's,
yeah,
a lot of times Thursday we just play recordings or something for folks. So we were
yeah,
definitely open to have a day off.
yeah, yeah. I decided I'm going to be doing some cooking, and I'm gonna have my own little personal private Thanksgiving.
Ah,
Oh,
Sometimes,
nice. I like it.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah,
sometimes people just show up and we meet and there's nothing formal about it and it turns out to be wonderful. That's happened more than once when things were supposed to be canceled. And I go on and there's three or four other people and we're all together as one. And before you know it, an hour's gone by and we've shared all kinds of wonderful things. So there are no accidents.
that's right. That's right. So, yep, you are love. It is you. I love that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut off this YouTube. Thank you all for joining us, and make sure that you subscribe and like this video. If you want to join us again, you'll get a notification.